Meet our guy, the ultimate no-life gamer who flexes not one, not two, but 7 max-level characters. He's been dominating the hardest virtual reality game out there, practically living in it. But of course, luck had to pull a fast one on him. Just when things go sideways and he gets stuck inside the game, guess which character he's stuck playing? Not his top-tier fighter, not his OP wizard, but his freaking level 10 storage character, the one he only used to hoard items and gear. Total downgrade, right? Sure, it's a shabby start to his new life, but at least he's swimming in items, weapons, and supplies. Maybe, just maybe, his gear hoarding obsession will save the day. Welcome to the story of an unlucky office worker who had been trapped in a game as a character who couldn't fight. He had a lot of great items but no combat skills. This was the story of a man who had to use his smarts to survive in a tough game world where a new update brought unknown dangers and a plan to destroy humanity. Let's follow his journey. Meet Kim Junwoo, a man with no money or girlfriend, who had loved reading updates about his favorite game, Over the Fantasy, on his phone. Junwoo was a regular office worker who had spent his free time playing games. It had been his only interest in his otherwise dull life. It was now 2039 and technology had improved a lot. Virtual reality glasses let players experience games in a realistic 3D world. This game had been very popular because it was so real and hard, making it tough for players who paid money to win easily. After work, Junwoo had been excited to log into the game, saying, "I thought I'd die waiting to get home today." The game was going to get a big update at midnight. It was 7 p.m. now and Junwoo, who liked to be perfect and decided to log in early to get ready. He sat in his chair, put on his glasses and a virtual screen and keyboard appeared. Having 3 high-level characters meant you wasted a lot of time, but with 7 characters like Junwoo, it had been even more extreme. Junwoo logged into a new character, Dio, a level 10 beginner with no class yet. He had picked this character to use his item storage. When Dio opened his eyes, Junwoo's mind merged with the avatar. Junwoo had known a new class was coming, so he planned to organize his items and sign up Dio for the new class. He opened his inventory and saw hundreds of messy items, realizing it would take time to sort. This town was where Junwoo had kept his storage. He went to his storage area and met an old NPC named Tony who guarded it. Junwoo opened a large storage space for easier sorting. Tony had asked for 1 silver coin, and Junwoo had paid, and knowing that storage fees increased with levels. He put a dagger in the storage, planning to move it later. Suddenly the system had announced a new update in 15 minutes, telling players to log out. Junwoo, who had spent hours organizing, scratched his cheek and decided to ignore it, and also knowing he would be logged out automatically. The city with a level cap of 100 would have kept him safe from being killed and robbed. He kept organizing and feeling uneasy and sensing he needed to hurry. 5 minutes before the update, the system's red screen had shown an error, telling players to log out. Suddenly the notification screen had broken and a black message had appeared: "You cannot send messages." Junwoo focused on finishing his inventory, and he hadn't noticed at first. After he finished, he stretched but realized something was wrong. There was no log out button. The game felt too real. Junwoo looked at his hands, which glowed faintly blue. He started to panic. Thinking quickly, Junwoo ran to the spatial rift, hoping to find other players, but the portal was gone. A child bumped into him and the pain felt alarmingly real. Was this still a game? He had sweated heavily, feeling cold fear. He told himself it was just a glitch, cursed the developers and planned to sue once he escaped. 3 days later, still trapped, Junwoo looked thin and wandered the streets in despair. He had finally accepted that this world was real and he was stuck as a level 10 character with no profession. In the city's army training area, the team leader had been teaching new recruits while Junwoo, with his arms crossed, had been watching. Over the past 3 days, Junwoo had searched the city but hadn't found any clues. He had realized that he was the weakest among 7 top-level players stuck in the game. Even though he had bad luck, he had a lot of money. A soldier had noticed Junwoo acting strangely and had asked if he was there for a reason. Junwoo had casually said, "I'm just watching." The soldier had invited Junwoo to join the training, but he had said no and had asked, "Why so much training?" The soldier had explained, "It's for monster waves. Avera, an NPC village, is always under attack. Helping NPCs gives better experience. Since the village's level cap is 100 and you're level 10, these attacks are too hard for you." Dio, Junwoo's character, had felt regretful. If he died in the game, he would die in real life too. He needed to survive. When he checked his inventory, he had found job change scrolls for assassin and martial arts master but couldn't use them because his stats were messed up. With strength at 50 and other stats low, Dio had felt hopeless. Suddenly a purple scroll appeared in Junwoo's inventory, glowing with a new color. Titled Job Change Scroll, Talent breakthrough, character class unknown in Phase 2, it could be used at the Forgotten Temple altar. It required a Phase 1 class and a reputation of 500. Though Dio couldn't use it yet, he knew hidden places often held solutions. Despite the game's lack of information and frustrating quests, Dio enjoyed the challenge. Feeling the scroll was crucial for his survival, Dio headed to the mercenary guild in A Dawning Village after saying goodbye to Old Man Tony. In a hooded cloak, Dio entered the crowded lounge of level 100 experts. Nervous, he approached the receptionist, only to be told to wait in line by a stern man who mocked Dio's poor clothes. Dio tossed a gold coin and said, "Let me see the guild leader." The receptionist was shocked by the A-rank honor medal Dio displayed. The medal clinked on the table, drawing everyone's attention. The receptionist stammered. Nearby hunters were amazed, as only 0.1% of hunters had such a medal. Dio's plan was to use the A-rank medal to fake a high reputation and conceal his true stats with a hooded cloak. He also showed a high-grade medal. "See how impressive it is," he said. The medal acted as a royal pass, ensuring respect. The crowd quickly moved away, treating him like a top expert. Dio had asked, "Am I now allowed to meet the guild master?" Even though he had acted confidently, he had been nervous. He had worried they might check his items, which would have been a problem. An elderly voice had then said, "Oh, our special guest is here." The speaker had introduced himself as Cotton, a guild manager from the village. Even though he was over 60, he had been strong and muscular. He had told Dio, "Let's go upstairs to talk." Dio's eyes had brightened, but he had stayed cautious. He had crossed his arms and had said, "I didn't ask to meet the guild master, did I?" Cotton had bowed deeply and had apologized. "I'm sorry, the guild master is not here. I'll handle your request instead." Dio, impressed by the manager's sincerity, had agreed. They had gone upstairs to a private area, marking the first step of Dio's plan. Now he had hoped the talks would go well. Cotton's attitude changed from respectful to serious as they started discussing business. "So, you want a mission to the Forgotten Temple?" Dio replied confidently, "Yes, I have no additional conditions." Cotton stroked his beard. "We have a mission to the Forgotten Temple, but it's already full." Dio, pleased, said, "I'll take it." Noting Cotton's hesitation, he added, "No rewards needed, just a safe trip." Cotton asked, "So you want to be treated as a protected person?" Dio replied, "I won't stand by if there's danger." Cotton agreed, and recognizing Dio's extra combat power would be useful, and smiled. "All right, we'll assign the mission to you." Dio signed the contract and agreed to meet at the North Gate the next morning. The next day 3 hunters waited at the North Gate. A burly hunter remarked, "What's an A-rank hunter doing here?" The blue-haired hunter warned, "He's A-rank, don't offend him." Raymond introduced himself, "Are you the A-rank hunter?" "I'm Raymond." Dio, using the name Monty, shook hands. He was surprised to find only 4 guards on the trip and felt foolish for negotiating without conditions. Raymond asked, "Shall we wait for the mission leader?" At that moment, a girl in a blue cloak and short skirt arrived, looking flustered. She panted, "Are you escorting me to the Forgotten Temple?" "I'm Clara, the priestess of the Luna Temple." Dio noticed Clara's disheveled appearance. Clara caught his gaze and stared, making Dio uncomfortable. Raymond announced, "Let's go." They set off under the blazing sun. Dio's system screen warned him of entering an area with stronger monsters. As night fell, the group set up a campfire. Raymond pulled out a map to plan their next camping spot, suggesting a detour for safety. Dio, staying calm, objected. Standing alone with his arms crossed, he said, "We should take a shortcut. If we go to campsite number 3, there's a secret cave that leads straight to the Forgotten Temple." Raymond dismissed Dio's suggestion. "We know the terrain better. Campsite number 3 isn't safe." Dio insisted, "I can navigate with my eyes closed. The shortcut through Dunville Forest is faster." Raymond's alarm grew. "Dunville Forest? It's filled with dangerous monsters." Ignoring the concern, Dio firmly said, "We're taking the shortcut to campsite number 3. The team looked uneasy, but Dio reassured them, "A shorter route is better for the priestess's stamina. I joined this mission to enjoy your company." He turned to Clara, "What do you think?" Clara looked a bit confused and unsure if Dio's insistence on the shortcut was due to him flirting or genuine concern. She finally said, "I'd prefer to go faster, so I agree with Monty." Raymond reluctantly agreed, grumbling, "Fine, but if danger arises, I hope you, Mr. A-rank, can handle it." Dio smiled and assured him, "Don't worry." The group rested overnight, but Dio found it hard to sleep, feeling the strain of the journey. The next morning, they reached the 3rd campsite. Raymond asked Dio, "Is there really a cave here?" "Yes, but be careful. This area might have wolves," Dio warned. Raymond then stepped into a bush to relieve himself, which annoyed Dio. I warned you, Dio said, but Raymond shot back, can't I even pee? Dio took the chance to show his leadership. He told Clara to rest while everyone checked the map. Suddenly, a loud scream pierced the air. Raymond had been attacked by a large wolf, its sharp claws tearing at his back. Clara scared and held her magic wand tightly while Dio grinned. A woodman with a sword yelled at Dio, "Hey Mr. Rank A, don't just stand there." Dio smirked and said, I warned him. He needs to fix his own problems. The others rolled their eyes, thinking, why is this mercenary so cheeky? Dio told Clara to stay close as they watched the hunters. Raymond fell but two teammates quickly helped him. The shield bearer blocked a swipe from a wild wolf while the other hunter slashed its arm. Their teamwork overwhelmed the wolf. Dio noticed they were around level 100. Another wolf, already being beaten by two hunters, was about to go berserk. Dio saw a chance to show off. He pulled out a rusty 4-edge iron mace, moved in, and struck at the right moment. With the mace on his shoulder, Dio walked away arrogantly. Clara, let's help them. Clara agreed. Dio approached the sweating fighter and said, step aside. The fighter glared but didn't argue. Raymond annoyed and said, you've been watching this whole time and now you help? Not all A ranks are like you, huh? Just then the werewolf began to rage, swelling with power and glowing with a murderous aura. Raymond nearly panicked. What is this? The other hunter's shield shattered and he retreated. Dio stayed behind swinging his iron mace. Thump! He hit the wolf's head, stunning it. To the hunters, it seemed Dio had defeated it with one blow, but it was a trick. Dio knew the werewolf's berserk state could be neutralized with a purification herb. See, this is the skill of a knowledgeable gamer, Dio said, ordering a retreat. He pretended to dodge the wolf's attacks. I'm not like you guys, am I? Dio slammed the wolf into a tree, making it dizzy. Then, with two powerful thuds, Dio's mace killed the beast. He arrogantly stepped on it, but in reality the wolf would have died from a burst blood vessel after its rage ended. Dio had staged a dramatic performance while avoiding direct contact due to the level difference. Dio cheerfully thanked Clara, thanks, priestess. We owe you this favor. Clara smiled, it's nothing. It's my responsibility. Dio then asked Raymond, what about you? He placed his hand on his chest and said sincerely, it's my fault for choosing this dangerous path. Raymond's resentment faded. He awkwardly said, I'm fine. I made mistakes too. The other teammates realized they had judged too quickly. Despite his rudeness, Dio's experience was clear. As night fell they lit a campfire and found the secret cave Dio had mentioned. Raymond trusted Dio more now and was willing to listen to him. Dio chose a corner, crossed his arms and looked imposing. Anyone could find this place with instructions. Don't praise me too much. Raymond and his team still stared at Dio. Hey Ranka, tell us about your adventure and how to get the Medal of the Empire. Dio was wary and avoided getting too close. He advised them on the next journey, suggested taking turns for night watch and settled down to rest. The plan went well. Dio earned their trust and needed them to believe he had information about a new game update. Despite knowing the game scenarios from playing 7 characters to max level, he knew new details could change everything. He had to think through each step carefully. The fire crackled as everyone prepared for the next day. Dio defeated another monster and everyone cheered for him. They didn't know he had used Weed Killer on his Iron Club, a trick from his alchemist character. Despite his efforts, Dio didn't gain any experience points because his character refused to change jobs. Dio watched with tears in his eyes. Some monsters, even drugged, still fought back. Riker blocked a strong attack with his shield, and Dio advised, Ray, dodge instead of blocking, and Raymond, attack when they're weak. After the monster was defeated, everyone cheered again, grateful for Dio's advice. As they neared the end of the cave, Dio searched for a secret path to the Forgotten Temple and found a small glowing hole in the ground. The hunter asked, do we really have to crawl through this? Yes, it's a shortcut, Dio replied. The others were concerned about the hole size. Dio led the priestess, Clara, through it and she noticed his polite manners. He reminded her to stay calm as they fell through the hole. When Clara opened her eyes, they had arrived at the Forgotten Temple. Clara was amazed to be in this sacred place. The other hunters arrived awkwardly. Clara admired the murals while Dio studied them, recognizing their importance. The paintings showed the war between Luna, the moon goddess, and the demon lord. When Raymond thought one painting showed an execution, Dio corrected him, saying, that's a knight being blessed by Luna. Dio noticed that this knight looked like the one from the game's advertisement. Clara realized it was a prophecy and said, I've never seen a temple in a cave before. Knowing Clara was a priestess of Luna, Dio asked, what does the prophecy say? Clara read the ancient writing, we are nearing the apocalypse. Dio recognized this line from a new trailer, confirming the map was new to him. Concerned, he led the group deeper into the temple. They reached a hall with giant warrior statues and a golden knight kneeling in the center, the same knight from the trailer. Clara thought the statue was cute, but Dio felt nervous, sensing it might move at any moment. Clara thought there was no life here, but Dio, being an experienced player, knew the difference between an NPC and a statue. They weren't ready to face a powerful NPC like this, Dio worried. At the altar, the system announced Dio's entry into the lost ancient heritage and a mission notification appeared. You have completed the protection of the female priestess. Clara bowed in thanks, signaling the end of the mission. Suddenly the system lit up again. You have met the conditions for the hidden mission of the ancient relic. Dio broke into a cold sweat as the mission activated. The roof shook, startling Clara. Boom! The golden knight statue moved, breaking apart to reveal a terrifying dark figure with glowing eyes. Raymond screamed, "The statue is glowing." The statue turned into a dark knight in black armor. This level 300 NPC was far too powerful for them. Once a holy order knight, it had been cursed into a death knight with a menacing aura. Dio knew this monster shouldn't have been in a level 100 area. Dio knew that fighting the death knight directly was useless. He needed to uncover the hidden truth to succeed. The class transfer scroll lit up again, showing a new hidden mission, to take the death knight's sword. Dio remembered that death knights, like other knights, were weak against a cleric's holy light. If they used a cleric's holy shield to cover the death knight, it would go wild and break the shield, making the fight easier. Luckily Dio had a cleric in his group. The room crackled with electricity as the death knight roared, "Dare you step into the altar?" Clara shook with fear. "Monty, it's too dangerous." Dio placed a reassuring hand on Clara's shoulder. "Use the magic shield. This event is crucial for my class change and survival. We must complete it." Clara scared and protested, "You can't win. It's hopeless." Dio urged her, "We can't run. Deploy the magic shield now before it's too late." Trembling Clara raised her wand and chanted, "Light of the moon, protect us." A green light shone from her wand. She aimed it at the death knight, who was raising his sword. Dio helped her cast the holy shield. The death knight was covered in a faint golden shield, stopping his movements. Clara was amazed at how well the holy shield worked. Dio was curious about who Monty was and reminded everyone not to get too comfortable. They were just starting. The death knight's sword vanished, signaling the start of the next stage. Dozens of purple swords appeared, sticking into the ground. A scream from behind Dio warned, "Sir Monty, be careful." Dio asked, "Do you know who I am?" The system announced that the mission matched the death knight, who suddenly calmed down. Dio realized this was a game element related to truth and justice. The mission space opened, isolating Dio and the knight for a key dialogue that might hold clues for the hidden mission. Recalling the trailer, Dio remembered the golden armored figure was the female knight Dark, a beautiful knight with golden hair. She had been waiting for a messenger from the military institute who never returned. Her anger had turned her into a death knight, while the messenger became a wandering spirit. Dio understood this was crucial. After completing the mission, Dio returned and showed the Medal of Honor. The knight examined it and said, "Well done." Dio's heart raced as she recognized him as an ally. The screen announced Dio had found the top knight of the Holy Empire. Dark began, "A long time has passed. We were defeated and fell from God's favor. Many comrades have perished, Langbolt, Font, Chris, and..." Dio struggled to recall the missing name. He looked at the medal, feeling urgency. "Hurry, time is running out." Dark raised her sword to her chest and declared, "New recruit, you have given me hope." She swiped her sword across Dio's shoulder, surprising him. "This isn't a beheading, right?" he wondered. "It's a knighting ceremony." The trailer song played in Dio's mind. Dark seemed to be waiting not only for reinforcements but possibly also for her lover.